From Marine to CEO in some years. And I'm talking, he was like early 30s. Welcome to the Unarmored Talk podcast. I'm your host, Mario P. Fields. If this is your first time listening or watching on the YouTube channel, welcome. And if you have been listening or watching since 1800s, no, I'm just joking, since 2020, thanks for your continued support and loyalty. Today, I have a fellow Marine brother. His name is Matthew Askren. And you guys heard me say, yeah, he's still a Marine, but transitioned out, went to become a CEO at about 33 in the major grocery industry, and has developed a lot of discipline. I wouldn't even say develop, but enhanced his discipline, growth, and resilience and more in his transition journey. He's here on the show, and we're going to remove some armor and talk about that transition journey. Matthew, what's up, my friend?
Good morning, good afternoon, whichever it is. And I'm one of those people that have watched from since about 2020. So count me in that group.
Man, I appreciate it. And it's for charity. So everything I do, it goes to Still Serving Incorporated, my nonprofit that just celebrated 7 years. So thank you, because even if you watched one episode that generated a penny, and you know what? A penny will make a difference in someone's life. Do me a favor, man. Can you tell the listeners and viewers a little bit about you?
Sure, I am a United States Marine, a little bit older, not quite as lean, although I still try pretty hard at that. I poorly run endurance races and marathons and ultra races still, but I got a gray beard, so I guess not a Marine like people think of anymore. But I did transition into the business world, into the private sector. I'm a proud father of two sons. One just turned 12, one 9. I've got a beautiful wife. We've been married almost a year. Uh, she's from the Bayou of Louisiana, and I have moved her around twice already in a year. So pray for her. But I come from a strong family with a strong faith, and
Amen.
proud to be amongst great men like yourself.
Oh, likewise, and congratulations on your year. With the lovely bride. I know she's the CEO of your house, right? And so, but let's get right into the topic. I mean, I've seen you, I've known you. People see you, and they go, "Look at this guy, successful entrepreneur, CEO of multiple companies. Man, this guy probably had an easy transition." I don't think that's the case. Talk to me. Let's talk. How was it when you got out and you went into the private sector, my friend?
Well, I definitely didn't have an easy transition, and that's one of the reasons why I have helped people in transition a little bit less the last few years, but I've helped people in transition really ever since I got it right. Um, when I got out about 14 years ago,
Mhm.
there was very little structure for people that were getting out, especially for careerists. And I know people say, "Well, you only did 2 enlistments; you're not a careerist." Well, once you get Mario understands that once you do the first enlistment and raise right hand again, you're considered a careerist. And
Yes.
if you happen to be a high performer, and I hope I don't sound arrogant, although at the end of the day, I really don't care. Uh, I was a high performer. Check my fitness reports. Check my career. Nobody believes you when you say you're getting out. So the whole time on that second enlistment, you can be telling people, "Hey, in a few years, I'm getting out. Hey, and however long I'm getting out, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." Doesn't matter. Nobody believes you. All the way
Mhm.
to the point when you're actually getting out, and they're saying, "Hey, when you check out with the CO, don't say X, Y, and Z." And you go, "Well, why? That's what I'm doing." And they say, "Well, because if you come back, I'm out." So that's part of why it's hard or was hard. The other
Yeah.
reason why it is and was hard is that the transition process, especially for GWAT veterans, has become a lot more streamlined in that last 10 to 12, 13, 14 years.
Mhm.
That's a good thing. So
Yeah.
blessed to see how it's come these days.
No, you're right. And for the listeners and viewers who are not military, the GWAD stands for Global War on Terrorism. Those are the folks who served in the armed forces during that period. So here it is. Folks don't believe you. You got this vision, and if you're a Marine listening or watching this audience, Matthew is accurate. If you are a high performer, they're going to ride you like that wild horse. Like this is a rodeo. Oh, a horse won't be in that rodeo. We'll get with something else in the rodeo here. Bad reference, Mario. But if it's like a race, man, they're going to ride you. So now you get out And what was one of your first major challenges?
Well, the biggest one was that I had planned for a long time to franchise a 7-Eleven. I was
What?
all the
What?
way at the finish line of the process. My theory was I'm going to get out and I'm going to go right into ownership. I don't
Mm,
want to start at the back of the line. I've been leading people. My first MOS was as an armorer, which for those that understand that world, you literally are in charge of somebody as a PFC. You have
right.
an armory custodian who you're over. So I had been in leadership from literally the day I got out of MOS school. And so the idea that I was going to get out and I was going to be uh, private sector schmuckatelli just didn't go for me. My last duty station was as an MOS school instructor at the comm school. So I've got 54 students or whatever it was. Like going from 54 students to acting like I can't lead isn't going to cut it. So franchising a 7-Eleven was ultimately the route that I chose. Unfortunately, I get out. I had just gotten married to my first wife.
Hmm.
We had just bought a property, and the loan market was atrocious. You got to think about it. That's right after the bubble burst. And so I would
Mm.
have had to work for free for 1 year,
Oh.
franchise 7-Eleven. The second year, I probably would have made $5,000 or $10,000 just based on getting a loan and then trying to refi with some sort of a balloon a year or two later. All
Mm.
this stuff when I was in, nobody told me, didn't make sense. To be honest, even the people in the franchise stuff didn't really say it because they told you, well, go find your own financing. So that was the big hurdle. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night one night and saying, I can't do this.
Matthew, and that is critical for you to come to the realization and not let your pride become a barrier in your transition journey and going, it is okay to go, I can't, I gotta try something different. And I applaud you for that because there's so many folks that I've seen that transition. They're so stubborn that go. They did. I mean, you're like, all right, you need to try something else. We got to have a couple of different options here. So when you made that mental change, what was option number two?
Option number two is I better find something quickly because that was already actually option number two. There had been another entrepreneurial journey prior to that. So this was really option number three. Um, and so what I ultimately did was I found a job. There was a flooring chain in Chicago called Century Tile. It no longer exists, but they were a
Mm,
retail chain with 12 stores. They hired me and told me that they were going to make me a manager. Ultimately, that wasn't true. They just wanted me to work on commission, which was actually a tremendous experience for me. I say that has helped me so much in my career. God works in mysterious ways. The other
mm.
option I had was a local truck stop was going to hire me to run their entire operation for a whopping $12 an hour. I'm not making that up, which on its face might have been a better opportunity, except $12 an hour. So, like I said, I had just gotten married and just bought a property. $12 an hour wasn't going to cut it with
Mm-mm.
no benefits, I think, if I remember right at the time, or very little benefits. So I took that route, and then I started looking for a career simultaneously. And I sort of haphazardly found my way into food manufacturing from there. About 9 months later, I got a job with the company that makes pretty much all of the hamburger and hot dog buns in the Chicago area. If you know anything
Mhm,
about Chicago, hot dogs are a huge thing.
mhm.
And that's Alpha Baking Company, and the brand that they're known for is S. Rosen's uh, hot dog and hamburger buns.
And at the beginning of the show, I mentioned resilience, growth, and discipline, and some other soft skills that are transferable. And everyone, did you? Matthew, he had a choice. He could have just laid down like a sheep and just said, "Just eat me up, life," and listen to the constant. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to have resilience, and then I am going to go into an industry that I may not even have a clue about. And then look what happened. Now you're in this industry. You're like, well, how did I get to this point? When did you start to realize I think this is for me?
Very early on, actually, that company was a family-owned company. And for those that have worked in family-owned companies, you understand that that isn't all rosy all the time.
Mm,
But one of the things about that for this multi-$100 million a year family company that I got was access. They wanted people in meetings. They wanted people to be cross trained. They wanted people to have information. And because of that, I had an opportunity to be in front of things that if I had been at a Fortune 500 company, I never would have experienced. And so
Wow.
here I am, the first 6 months or a year that I'm in this career, and I'm already getting this information and this intelligence, if you will, uh, that I never would have had otherwise. And so very early on, I realized, man, like I'm getting a skill set here that's legit. And quickly, I had started doing some networking, started picking people's brains, joined LinkedIn, and from all that, I realized, hey, I probably need to move on for a couple reasons. One, I was, unbeknownst to me, severely underpaid. But two, the other reason was because I needed to kind of have a more diverse skill set. And so that company was a very laborious process company, very hand heavy.
Hmm.
And I started looking for companies that did more with automation, more with technology. Because if I'm going to be who I think I'm going to be, I need to be able to talk about automation and engineering processes the same way that I talk about human capital management. And so I kind of early on started uh, piling up this vision and ways to execute it.
Your approach to looking at this, any opportunity to develop and grow, I hope that at least one listener and viewer adopt that mindset to go, you know what? This may not be what I envisioned. This is not the 7-Eleven franchise. However, there's some soft skills here. There's some skills that I'm getting that's invaluable in access to real life experience, wisdom, that you can't get into, there's no university of wisdom. It's just real life stuff. Um, if you had to give yourself advice when you were EASing, if you can go back and you can sit next to yourself when you're EASing, what would you tell yourself today?
I would say God's
Would you,
got
and
you.
you can take your time because I know if someone asked me that question, I'd be like, man, I need 10 minutes and go get me a beverage.
The biggest thing is God's got you, and as long as you
Amen.
put in the effort with a plan, and as long as you have a network that you cultivate, you're going to be okay. And I have had many ups and downs. There if you look at my career on a PowerPoint, maybe it looks like a linear arrow, and that's cool. I'll take that. I'm not going to complain. But the truth is, I have had failures. I've fallen on my face, but I've also taken those times where I've fallen on my face or those failures, and I have learned from them, but two, I've even found ways to actually use them to propel myself forward. And I know a lot of folks, that's going to sound crazy, but once you've done it, it's not as crazy as you think because
Yeah.
we learn a lot more. And I wish it wasn't true, but Marines, I was in Afghanistan with a lieutenant named Lieutenant Porter who told me once, he was a prior enlisted Navy guy. And he told me once, I'm a Marine. So for better or worse, I typically learn things the hard way. And I wish that weren't true. I pray sometimes that it's not true. The reality is that we've got to fall on our face sometimes. We've got to have some level of failure, even if it's not your fault, and to figure out, okay, where am I actually supposed to be? How am I actually supposed to navigate this?
Matthew, the brilliancy of going, okay, I'm going to embrace failure so I can learn. Like you said, and I used to have this mindset. I mean, years ago when I was like, right now I'm 95 years old. No, I'm just joking. But years ago when I would be like, man, I don't want to fail. I can't fail. I can't fail. And it was a bad thing in my mindset, my belief system. We're now listening to you and even myself going, no, it's okay to fail because there's so much learning opportunities, and in all your failures that you say, hey, I kind of failed. And failing doesn't mean, I did a previous episode a couple of months ago, it doesn't mean giving up. All right, but
I've
in
never
your
done that. Of all the things I've done, that is one that I've never. I've been laid off.
right,
I've been embarrassed. I've had people take advantage of me. I've
yeah,
never given up.
but
That's the one that I've never done.
so in all your experience of, like, we'll just say failure for the show, what if you had to pick one thing that was invaluable to you that you learned from them? And I know these are some tough questions because not even tough, we're discussing, because I would talk to you all day. That's every guest, but you all know the deal. I can't. If you had to pick one thing, what would it be that
Well,
you've learned from the failing moments?
it's that we have this ability, and it's not a good one, to infuse our ego into our reality. And I don't think I'm a big ego guy. I have an ego, but I honestly am. I believe am at least somewhat humble and have humility as an asset. But even I will infuse my ego into situations and think, well, I can't do X, or if that
Mm.
happens, I won't be able to recover, or I won't be. And then life has taught me, no, you sure will. You just wait. You sure will.
Be
We'll
patient.
figure out a way. You'll get creative. You'll and here's the other crazy part, Mario. You can do it while maintaining your ethics. You
Right.
can do it while maintaining your integrity. You can
Mm.
do it while standing on your own 2 feet and being the man or woman that you were created to be, that you were hopefully raised to be. Not everybody was blessed enough to be raised that way, but for those of us that were, and so that's the part. My ego has often said, "Well, I that can't happen to me because I wouldn't be able to." Guess what? I was wrong.
Any new things on the horizon for you?
Yes. So recently, I have invested in and am now the CEO of a company called mindfulme.care. Or technically, the company is Mindful Me Care, but it's stylized on the internet as mindfulme.care. So if you go to your internet, you watch this and type in mindfulme.care, it will come right up. But it's an AI, it's an AI tool, AI company that is focused on mental health. It's a companion tool with a language model, which is a lot of jibber jabber to say that it's here to help you in your mental health, and it will even talk back to you. Um, it's got actual psychologists and clinical social workers involved with it. It's intended not to be just a sole one-stop shop. It's intended to accompany the rest of the things that you're doing in your life to make you better. But you I'm sure heard a couple years ago about a former instructor friend of mine, Staff Sergeant Linnell Springs,
Mm.
who took his own life on Camp Pendleton. He went live on Facebook right before
Yeah.
that happened. I was actually on that live with him, trying to talk him off the ledge.
Mm.
He and I stayed in contact after we were instructors together when he was on recruiting duty. When I got to know his in-laws a little bit when I was with XLNT Bakeries, and we did a lot of business in Vegas, where he was from. So he and I were friends to the end, unfortunately, literally to the end.
Mm.
Uh, and I don't want anybody to go through that again. And not on my side, not on their side, not on his family side. So our goal is to get whether it be university students, military, reserve, veteran family, first responders, to get them to adopt and adapt to this tool, so that on a daily basis, if we know Mario's probably a 6 or a 7 because Mario's motivated. Uh, Matthew's pretty good too, so maybe he's a 5. But we want to be, instead of being a 4 or 5 every day, we want to be a 6 or a 7, so that on the worst day of our life, instead of going down to 0, we go down to 2. Because if we're a 2 on the worst day of our life, we're going to live to see tomorrow. And unfortunately, um, then we have stories like the one that I just shared.
Well, Matthew, before I let you go, I want to say first of all, I'll continue to pray for you, and anyone that was impacted by that unfortunate um, suicide that was broadcasted. And two, thank you for your new, the things you're doing that's on the horizon to save at least one life. And everyone, you heard it. Transition is not a linear journey, and you guys heard some amazing, some one of my belief is amazing wisdom and experience from Matthew. And so, if you are currently on active duty, you are about to transition, or you have transitioned and still kind of struggling. Definitely, I hope you learned something from this episode, and you can connect with Matthew on LinkedIn, and I will make sure all of his links are in the show notes. It's been wonderful to have you on the show, Matthew. And I would love to keep you on a little bit longer, maybe go downstairs or put something on the grill and virtually give you a hamburger. But I enjoyed you.
I appreciate you, Mario, and it's been a pleasure knowing you these years. And let's keep connecting and keep engaging.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everyone, again, I'll see you guys, or you can either see me on YouTube or hear me on that audio platform in about a week or so. But until next time, I will continue to pray that may God continue to bless you, the listener and viewers, your friends and families, and all living beings around you.